Bryan Freedman represents Justin Baldoni and the other plaintiffs in the lawsuit against the Times. He is my lawyer, and he is a trusted friend and mentor to me. I want you to know that going into this. Counsel, good to see you. Happy New Year. Why is this a claim that has merit, and do I have the standard right about what Baldoni would have to show as a public figure?
I think you have the standard right. I mean, I think you have to show reckless disregard for the truth as a public figure, but I think it's easily shown. I mean, when do you see the New York Times, a publication that's supposed to be an investigative journalist, right? These are supposed to be investigative journalists. When do you see them at 9:47 at night send an email on a Friday night before a holiday, right before Christmas? They send the email and it warns them that we're coming out with a story that we're going to publish by 12 noon Eastern the next day. So you basically right there have 15 hours, 14 hours to respond to this. If you're not looking at your email at 9:47 at night Eastern time, you might even pass that up until the morning, right? There's a boatload of questions on there, but there's not the actual questions that matter. There's not really the questions about, this is the evidence we're using, these are the text messages we're relying on. They say that they've reviewed thousands of pages of text messages. Unbelievable. And if they did, they would have come across the text messages that had emojis removed, that skewed the meaning of various emails, other emails which were taken out of context, strings which were partial email strings and partial text strings, and completely mischaracterized what was happening in the case. And it's shocking, actually, that the New York Times wouldn't follow up and say, well, you know, we have text messages saying this, and we'd like to know, are they real? Do you have anything that shows that they're different? We live in a digital age. You can't trust everything that you see. Why couldn't the New York Times ask that question?
Are you saying that they got changed copies of the communications, or that they changed the communications to remove emojis? Are you blaming the New York Times for doing that?
I'm blaming the New York Times for participating with Blake Lively's publicists and engaging in this campaign where they actually were part of facilitating the complaint getting filed with the CRD, which is the Civil Rights Division, and knew the complaint was getting filed, encouraged them to file the complaint, had a copy of the complaint before it was filed, and once it was filed, they went with the story. And they completely relied on
Brian,
these text messages given to them.
Breaking news. They didn't have any more time available to give you. They gave you the most time they could. You chose not to respond. Is that a fair charge?
Not at all. We did respond, and we challenged, actually, the veracity of the story, and we challenged, actually, the veracity of the text messages, and specifically said that those messages were cherry-picked and used out of context. Was there a follow-up phone call? Was there, please tell us more? What do you mean by cherry-picked and taken out of context? There was no investigative journalism done whatsoever. It was a complete reckless disregard for the truth. And why was that, Chris? You know why that was. Because Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are who they are. And that's why that was done. And the truth is that any publicist...
Tui's a big shot, though, Brian. Tui is not a hack. She's got a really solid reputation for doing this kind of work.
And you know what, Chris? I would have expected more from her. I would have expected her to actually want the truth, because that's what this is about. It's just about truth. And in that regard, Chris, what we're going to do is like no one's ever done in any kind of case. We're going to take what the young kids call receipts, and we're going to take those text messages, and we're going to put them out for the public to see. And we're doing it as we speak, and we have been doing it. And what you're starting to see is a complete turnaround in this story. And you're starting to see a turnaround because people are questioning, is this truthful or not? When Blake Lively says she was sexually harassed because Justin Baldoni went into her trailer while she was breastfeeding, What she actually failed to talk about is the invitation that she sent in a text message and said, I'm pumping, come down to my trailer and we'll go over lines. It's right there. It's in a text message. They reviewed 1,000 pages. Why didn't they find that one?
Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.